There is a silence more powerful than thunder, a silence sharper than the blade of any sword. It doesn't roar, it doesn't scream, it simply waits, and in that waiting, it conquers. Machiavelli knew this secret. He knew that defending yourself was weakness, but he also understood something far darker, that silence itself is not emptiness, it is domination, a weapon invisible and yet more terrifying than any army. We live in a world drowning in words. Everyone is desperate to be heard. They argue, they defend, they justify, they explain. People fight not for truth, but for the illusion of winning. And yet, every word spoken is a thread pulled from your own soul. Every explanation reveals a piece of your strategy. Every defense is a confession of insecurity. This is why Machiavelli wrote that a ruler should never reveal too much. Because the more you speak, the more you surrender. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you lost control? Not because of what you did, but because of what you said. When was the last time you regretted words you could never take back? Imagine this. Someone confronts you. They accuse you. They scream at you. They want you to respond, to fight, to explain. But you don't. You remain silent. Suddenly, the battlefield shifts. They expected resistance, but you gave them a void. And that void terrifies them. Why? Because silence is not neutral. It's active. It forces the other person to wrestle with themselves. They hear echoes of their own words bouncing back, growing louder in their head. They begin to doubt themselves. Your silence becomes their tormentor. Psychologists call it the uncomfortable pause. Even a few seconds of silence in a conversation creates tension so strong that most people can't bear it. They rush to fill it with words, but those words are rarely strategic. They're clumsy, emotional, revealing. They expose insecurity, fear, even guilt. And you didn't have to move a muscle. You let silence do the work for you. Machiavelli would say, silence makes others destroy themselves. It is the art of letting your enemy become their own executioner. History remembers loud speeches, but history is shaped by silence. Napoleon often remained silent in councils, letting his generals argue until they revealed their weaknesses. Only then would he speak, and with devastating precision. Queen Elizabeth I mastered the art of silence. When pressured to marry for political gain, she remained silent. Her silence created uncertainty, which she used to keep foreign powers guessing, and her throne secure. Stalin feared not for his words, but for his silences. When he sat in meetings, silent and expressionless, his subordinates trembled, because silence made them imagine the worst. The truth is simple. Silence has shaped empires more than words ever did. But this isn't just for kings and rulers. It's for you. Think of an argument with a partner. Every word you throw becomes ammunition for them. But when you remain silent, when you listen without defending, suddenly they are fighting themselves. Think of a workplace meeting. Everyone wants to speak, to prove themselves. But the person who speaks least is often seen as the most powerful. Why? Because silence creates mystery. Mystery creates respect. Think of conflict with a friend or rival. The one who shouts looks emotional, unstable. The one who remains silent looks calm, untouchable. But let's be clear, not all silence is power. Weak silence is avoidance. It's silence born from fear, from not knowing what to say. It exposes you as fragile. Strong silence is intentional. It's the silence of someone who could speak, could attack, could destroy, but chooses not to. It's silence backed by strength, by confidence, by control. The weak man is silent because he is afraid. The strong man is silent because he is dangerous. If you want to use silence as a weapon, you must follow 4 laws. Never defend yourself. Defense is weakness. If you are innocent, you don't need to explain. If you are guilty, explanation won't save you. Use silence to create mystery. The less you say, the more people wonder what you're thinking. That wondering is power. Control the pause. In conversations, don't rush to answer. Let the silence grow. Let it make the other person uneasy. End with silence. Always leave the last word unspoken. It lingers longer than any argument. But there is a danger. Silence is powerful, but it is also cruel. Used recklessly, it becomes emotional torture. The silent treatment in relationships can destroy love. A leader who never speaks can create fear, but also paranoia and betrayal. Machiavelli himself warned, "Silence is a double-edged sword. Used wisely, it creates fear and respect. Used carelessly, it breeds hatred and rebellion." Even today, silence rules more than words. In negotiations, the side that speaks less usually wins. In interviews, the candidate who pauses before answering seems more confident. On social media, where everyone is shouting, the one who stays silent appears above the noise. Think about the last time you saw someone stay calm and silent while others argued. Who looked stronger? The loud ones or the quiet one? Machiavelli's lesson is clear. Power does not belong to the loud. It belongs to the silent. Words are arrows you cannot pull back. But silence is a fortress. To defend is to lose. To attack is to expose. But to remain silent is to conquer. So remember this. Every time you speak, you reveal yourself. Every time you argue, you lower yourself. Every time you defend, you surrender power. But silence keeps you untouchable. It keeps your enemies guessing. It keeps your allies respecting. It keeps you in control. In the theater of life, words are noise, but silence is music. Don't defend, don't explain, don't reveal. Be silent, be still, be dangerous. Because in the end, silence isn't weakness. Silence is a weapon.